Sam Thomas woke up before dawn with a flutter in his chest as he tied his worn boxing gloves beside his bed, dreaming of stepping into a bright ring instead of a crowded school hallway. Each morning, he imagined the sound of leather hitting canvas while he padded quietly through his small kitchen, careful not to wake his mother, who worked double shifts to support their family. By the time he boarded the bus, his round cheeks and broad frame offered an easy target for cruel whispers and mocking laughter from other kids who never looked beyond his size. The older boys by the lockers would jeer at him with nicknames like Blubber Boy, Heavy Hitter, and Big Belly, using those words as if they were hooks to punch at his pride. Instead of letting their insults bruise his spirit, Sam focused on the weight of his body and the muscles beneath, knowing that his size held power they could not imagine. In homeroom, he sat quietly in the back row, listening to the droning voice of Mr. Fields while he pictured himself dancing around an opponent, slipping past wild swings like a leaf on the breeze. His best friend Mia passed him a note that read, "Keep going, champ," and he smiled, fingers tightening around the cold metal clasp of his backpack strap as though it were a trophy. At lunch, the same group of students gathered around his table, shoving sandwiches and spilling juice as they teased him about his slow walk and extra helpings of pasta from last night's dinner. One boy shoved a carton of milk towards Sam with a cruel grin, daring him to spill it on his own shirt and become the center of another joke. Sam opened his mouth to speak, but he remembered his coach's advice to stay calm, keep breathing, and wait for the right moment to strike back with skill, not words. During gym class, he laced up his old sneakers with careful hands, knowing that his size gave him strong legs even if it made him slower in games of tag or dodgeball. When the teacher blew the whistle, the same gang ran towards Sam, pelting him with foam balls that bounced harmlessly off his chest while he remained focused on his own breathing. Each thud of a ball reminded him of a heavy bag in his basement, waiting for him to train in secret after school when no one else was looking. After class, Mia led Sam to the locker room, where he revealed a pair of faded boxing gloves and a small jump rope he used to practice footwork in cramped quarters. "You really do this every day," Mia said, eyes wide as she watched him skip rope with a steady rhythm that made the floor creak under his weight. Sam nodded and wiped his forehead with a towel, thinking about how proud he felt whenever he landed a clean punch on his heavy bag, even if no one else saw it. Back in the hallway, the bullies lined up to mock him again, but this time they paused when they saw the gloves strapped to his backpack, wondering why a fat kid would care about punching. Their laughter halted for a moment as Sam squeezed his locker shut, standing taller and feeling the rush of excitement that came before a big match. He walked toward the exit as the bell rang, ignoring the mocking calls of Boxing Buddy and Chunky Champ that echoed behind him like empty cheers. Outside the school gates, the sun shone brightly on Sam's face, warming him with a promise that his dreams of boxing glory might one day lift him above the taunts. He stepped onto the cracked sidewalk, shoulders back, heart pounding, ready to head to Coach Ramirez's gym tucked away behind a pizza shop on Main Street. At the gym, the smell of sweat and leather wrapped around him like a welcome cloak, drowning out memories of taunts and replacing them with the steady rhythm of gloves meeting bag. Coach Ramirez greeted him with a firm nod, inspecting his form as Sam jabbed, crossed, and hooked with careful precision learned from old training videos he watched at midnight. After a full hour of drills, Sam wiped his face with a towel, feeling every muscle in his body burn with a promise of strength and speed. As he left the gym, the sunset painted the sky in shades of orange and purple, and Sam imagined stepping into a ring surrounded by cheering crowds and bright lights. He carried his gloves over his shoulder and walked home, dreaming of the day when his fists would speak louder than any insult thrown at him. At home, his mother served him a plate of rice and beans, and he ate quickly, knowing that every meal was fuel for his secret training sessions in their small garage. His little sister peeked through the doorway, offering a shy smile as she handed him a glass of water, proud of her big brother's quiet determination. Sam nodded at her and finished his food, ears still ringing with the ghostly laughter of his classmates circling in his mind like vultures. Before bedtime, he taped his knuckles and stared at an old photograph of his father, wearing boxing gloves long ago, passed away before Sam could ask him for advice. He imagined his father's calm voice telling him to stay true to himself, to fight with honor, and to never let fear keep him from stepping into the ring. Sam lay down on his bed with the gloves by his side, closing his eyes as he replayed each punch and dodge in his mind like an epic dream. He thought about tomorrow's lunch period and the cruel jokes he would face, but he felt a steady confidence rising in his chest, stronger than any insult. The echoes of derogatory names slowly faded in his mind as he focused on the rhythmic sound of his own breathing, in and out, steady and calm. In the dark, he promised himself that he would keep training until the day the bully who called him Fat Boy would step in a ring and regret every mocking word. He fell asleep with a smile, the faint creak of his dresser drawer reminding him of the heavy bag sway back at the gym waiting for him. Sam dreamed of punching through the ropes of fear and doubt, emerging into the bright light of victory and respect from those who had never believed in him. The steady beat of his heart matched the imagined countdown of a referee. 3, 2, 1, fight, and Sam leaped into action with fierce determination. When morning arrived, he would wake up again ready to face the world's laughter, with a promise of strength and skill hidden beneath his broad frame. As he slept peacefully, the world outside remained unaware that the fat kid they mocked each day was secretly training to become their greatest opponent, determined to succeed. Early the next morning, Sam rolled out of bed and laced up his running shoes for a quick warm-up around the block before heading to school. The cool air bit at his cheeks as he jogged past empty sidewalks and flickering streetlights, feeling the rhythm of his heartbeat rise with each step. By the time he reached the bus stop, beads of sweat dotted his forehead and he panted softly, proud of the small victory before the school day began. When the bus arrived, he climbed aboard and took a seat by the window, gazing at the quiet streets as they blurred past his tired eyes. A group of older boys lingered near the front of the bus and snickered when Sam walked down the aisle, offering him nicknames that rang in his ears like unwanted alarms. He ignored their jokes and focused on the steady thump of the engine, imagining it was the pounding of his gloves against a heavy bag at Coach Ramirez's gym. At school, Mia met him at his locker and greeted him with a confident smile that brightened even the dull gray of the hallway. She handed him a granola bar and whispered, "You've got this," before slipping into her next class with a playful wink. Sam tucked the snack into his backpack and opened his locker, careful not to drop any books as he prepared for first period. In English class, the teacher asked for volunteers to read aloud, and Sam raised his hand with a quiet confidence he didn't know he had. His voice sounded clear and steady when he read a poem about courage and change, earning him polite applause from his classmates. That brief moment of recognition warmed him more than any punch ever could. During lunch, the same group of bullies surrounded his table, shoving his food and teasing him about the way he ate. One girl flipped her hair and said he needed to eat less if he wanted to fit in, her words sharp enough to sting. Sam took a deep breath and gripped the edge of the table, refusing to give them the reaction they wanted. When the bell rang, he packed his bag and led the way to the gym for afternoon class, gloves tucked into his backpack. The gym teacher handed out jump ropes, but Sam asked politely if he could work on his own footwork instead. The teacher raised an eyebrow, then nodded when Mia spoke up and explained Sam's special training routine. Sam set up cones along the far wall and practiced quick side steps and pivot moves that made the cones dance under his sneakers. The gym echoed with the sounds of bouncing balls and squeaking shoes as he focused on perfecting every shift of his weight. After class, he returned to his locker to drop off his books and grabbed his gloves for the trip to Coach Ramirez's gym. Outside, the sun shone brightly and a light breeze rustled the leaves along the sidewalk to the pizza shop. He paused to say hello to Mr. Chin, who refilled Sam's water bottle and asked about his training with a warm smile. Every friendly face reminded Sam that he belonged somewhere besides the crowded hallways of his school. Inside the gym, the familiar scent of leather and sweat welcomed him like a protective shield around his dreams. He started with jump rope, counting each skip and feeling his lungs open as his muscles warmed. Next, he shadowboxed in front of a large mirror, watching the shape of his arms and legs move with precision and grace. Coach Ramirez called out corrections, reminding Sam to keep his guard up and his stance low for better balance. Sam adjusted his feet and fists, then landed a clean jab that made him smile when he saw it in the reflection. Then he moved to the heavy bag, driving a series of jabs and hooks that echoed like drumbeats in the quiet gym. The bag swung back and forth, testing Sam's control as he aimed to keep every strike straight and true. Coach Ramirez handed him a pair of focus mitts and asked Sam to demonstrate a jab-cross combination. Sam obeyed, snapping his fist forward with all the speed he could muster and feeling the satisfying thud against the mitt. The coach nodded in approval and said, "Next week you'll spar light rounds," stirring both excitement and nervous butterflies in Sam's stomach. Sam gripped his gloves tighter, picturing himself in a small ring with ropes around him and a calm referee counting down. As the afternoon light dimmed, he finished with push-ups and sit-ups until his arms shook and his core burned. He thanked Coach Ramirez and stepped outside, the cool evening air greeting him like an old friend. On the walk home, Sam replayed each drill in his mind and planned how to improve tomorrow's session. When he reached his house, his mother was waiting on the porch, her face lighting up as she asked about his day. Sam smiled and told her he felt stronger and more ready than ever, determined to succeed. On Saturday morning, Sam arrived early at the community recreation center, stepping through the wide double doors into a bright gym filled with the echo of bouncing balls and the chatter of kids in workout clothes. He signed in at a small desk with a clipboard full of names and dates scribbled in pencil next to the announcement of a youth boxing tournament taking place that afternoon. While waiting, he observed other participants tying hand wraps and carefully fitting their gloves, noting their different heights and weights as they prepared for the matches ahead. A tall boy named Marcus, wearing red shorts, glanced at Sam and snickered at the sight of his broad frame, whispering to a friend before turning away with a smirk. Sam found a spot near the corner of the ring and began skipping rope, counting each jump out loud to keep his focus steady as his muscles warmed beneath a thin layer of sweat. The announcer's voice boomed over a crackling loudspeaker, calling the first group of boxers to step into the ring for light sparring demonstrations before the official matches began. When his name was called for a quick warm-up round, Sam climbed through the bottom rope and touched the center of the canvas with both gloves, feeling a familiar rush of energy. His opponent was a boy with narrow shoulders and quick feet, but Sam adjusted his stance, lowering his weight over his strong legs in a move he had practiced countless times in his garage. The referee counted down from 5, and Sam launched a series of controlled jabs that made his opponent stumble backward before slipping out of range. The crowd of parents and children watched in stunned silence as Sam moved with surprising speed, weaving and bobbing under each jab rather than relying on brute force. When the round ended, Sam bowed slightly to his opponent, and the referee raised his hand, declaring him the clear winner of the warm-up demonstration. Marcus's earlier smug expression vanished as he stepped closer to the ropes, leaning forward to get a better view of Sam's gloves, his curiosity replacing mockery. As the official matches began, Sam returned to the bench with a towel around his neck, heart still racing as sweat dripped from his brow onto the wooden floor. He watched other boxers trade punches in bright green and blue gloves, noticing their mistakes and silently studying how they moved in hopes of applying the same lessons to his own style. When his first real match was announced, Sam stood and tightened his hand wraps, feeling a sudden mix of nerves and excitement that made his stomach flutter. Stepping back into the ring, he saw his opponent was a heavier boy named Tyler, known around the neighborhood for his strong right hook. The referee's gloved hand lowered, signaling the start, and Tyler charged forward with a powerful swing that Sam ducked under smoothly, surprising everyone. Sam countered with a quick uppercut that landed solidly against Tyler's guard and forced him to take a step back, wiping sweat from his brow. The crowd erupted in cheers as Sam continued to move carefully, landing accurate straight punches and managing his breathing between each exchange. Tyler swung again, but Sam blocked the hook and threw a hook of his own, glancing off Tyler's side and reminding him of Sam's strength. When the final bell rang, Sam's hand was raised once more, and whispers of amazement rippled through the audience as his record improved. Marcus, standing near the side of the ring, frowned and crossed his arms as he watched Sam climb down, and his earlier laughter seemed like a distant memory. After each match, Sam retied his gloves and drank water from his sports bottle, thanking Coach Ramirez for tips he had given him before the tournament. By the time the final round arrived, Sam had won 2 matches in a row and earned his place in the afternoon's championship bout. During the short break, he sat on a low bench and used a towel to dry his arms, noticing how the muscles in his shoulders and chest felt strong and ready for more. Mia sat beside him, offering a granola bar and a proud smile as she said, "I knew you could do it," making Sam grin even though his body was burning. He nodded and stretched his arms overhead, careful not to jar his shoulders as he awaited his next opponent, a boy who looked faster but less balanced than Tyler. When the final fight began, Sam entered the ring with a calm focus, gloves raised, eyes scanning the space around him like a quietly confident dancer. His opponent moved quickly, aiming feints at Sam's head, but Sam kept his guard tight and waited for an opening that would let him strike with precision. A sudden opening appeared when the other boy overextended on a jab, and Sam seized the moment by driving a straight punch that landed against his opponent's shoulder. The next moments were a blur of gloves and sweat as Sam shifted his weight, dodged a wild hook, and landed another firm jab that rang across the canvas. When the bell sounded, Sam held his ground, breathing heavily but proud, while the referee raised his hand to crown him the champion of his weight class. In that moment, The entire gym seemed to hush as Marcus stepped forward and offered Sam a nod of respect he never would have expected earlier in the day. As trophies were handed to the winners, Sam accepted a small golden cup and lifted it in a quiet salute to his coach, his family, and everyone who believed in him. Later, outside the gym doors, kids and parents approached him to congratulate him, some asking how they could learn to box like him one day. Sam smiled politely and said, "You just have to work hard and never give up," echoing the lessons his coach had taught him from the first day he walked into the gym. Marcus stood nearby watching Sam and finally said, "Hey, you were awesome in there," with a grin that felt sincere for the first time. Sam nodded and replied, "Thanks. You should join me for a workout sometime," offering an invitation that felt both brave and hopeful. As the sun dipped low in the sky, Sam and Mia walked home together, his trophy bouncing gently in his backpack as he explained each match in excited detail. That night, Sam placed the cup on his nightstand beside his gloves, knowing that tomorrow he would return to school no longer just as the fat kid but as a champion. The next morning, Sam slipped the small golden trophy into his backpack alongside his gloves and walked to school under a pale sky that promised warmth but also brought whispers of curiosity and surprise from students he passed in the quiet streets. As he entered the main doors, a hush fell across the crowded hallway while dozens of pairs of eyes turned toward the broad young boy, who had once been the target of laughter and now carried evidence of his strength in the form of a shining cup. Mia met him at his locker with a grin so wide that even the stern hall monitors glanced up and she whispered, "Everyone's talking about you," before shoving his books aside to make room for his backpack. Sam felt a flutter of nerves as he placed his things in the locker, then reached inside for the trophy and held it at chest height, letting its weight remind him of the hours spent training in the dim light of the garage. A group of students who used to taunt him, boys with arms crossed and sneers ready, stepped closer, but instead of insults, one shyly offered, "Congrats, Sam," as if the trophy had given them permission to speak kindly at last. Sam nodded in thanks and moved on, passing by rows of lockers decorated with colorful magnets and photos of friends until he reached his classroom, the trophy's metallic gleam tucked safely out of view beneath his jacket. In homeroom, his teacher, Mr. Fields, paused mid-sentence when he noticed Sam's proud posture and simply said, "Good job on your event this weekend," before returning to the lesson with a small, respectful nod. The announcement sent a ripple of approval through the class, and even the students who had never spoken 2 words to Sam now glanced his way with newfound interest, offering thumbs up and quiet congratulations. During break, Sam joined Mia at the benches outside, where she produced 2 bottles of water and said, "You earned these," with a wink that made him laugh as he cracked open the cap and took a grateful sip. He thought about the hot gym floor, the smell of leather and sweat that had been his sanctuary, and he realized that the trophy represented not just victory, but every early morning run and every bruise earned in practice. When the lunch bell rang, the hall filled with hungry students streaming toward the cafeteria, but Sam and Mia walked to a quieter spot under a row of oak trees, their branches swaying gently in the midday breeze. Mia passed in a granola bar she had stashed in her pocket, and Sam unwrapped it slowly, savoring the taste and the kindness more than any high-calorie snack he had ever devoured during past lunches. Across the courtyard, Marcus and a few of the older boys watched from the sidelines, their expressions unreadable, as if they were unsure whether to continue mocking or to accept Sam as one of their own. Gathering his courage, Sam walked over to them and held out the trophy, offering, "Want to see how it works?" which made Marcus blink before he swapped his folded arms for open palms. Curiosity won over skepticism as Marcus accepted the trophy and turned it slowly, admiring its smooth surface and the little plaque at the base that read Youth Champion, his disbelief melting into respect. A shy smile spread across Marcus's face, and he said, "You're better than I thought," a phrase so genuine that Sam felt warmth spread through his chest like sunshine breaking through clouds. Encouraged by Marcus's acceptance, Sam pointed to the edge of the courtyard and suggested, "Come on, I'll show you some footwork drills," and together they ran through a few basic steps, laughter mixing with effort. Onlookers gathered around, watching the unlikely pair move in time, and soon more students edged closer, intrigued by the sight of the former target teaching his once tormentors the art of boxing. The gym teacher happened by on his break and whistled softly at the scene, then clapped and said, "That's the spirit of sportsmanship I like to see," earning a round of applause from the small crowd. Sam felt a thrill of pride as he demonstrated a simple pivot, then a jab, reminding himself that sharing his passion could build bridges rather than walls of fear and misunderstanding. As the bell rang for the next class, the students dispersed with nods and waves, and Sam returned to Mia at the bench, where she said, "You just turned the whole school around," her words ringing in his ears. In history class, Even the quietest kids raised their hands when asked about teamwork, secretly hoping Sam would lead a discussion on how trust and respect are more powerful than any punch. When the teacher chose Sam to summarize the lesson on ancient warriors, he spoke clearly, weaving in his own experience about preparation, courage, and the strength born of perseverance. His classmates listened attentively, and when he finished, the classroom echoed with genuine applause rather than polite clapping, making Sam's heart swell with satisfaction. Throughout the afternoon, every hallway turned into a corridor of encouragement, with students offering fist bumps and grins that replaced the old jeers and taunts with something brighter. Even the lunch ladies in the cafeteria called out, "There goes our champion," as Sam carried his tray to a table with enough space for him and Mia, filling his plate with extra fruits and vegetables to fuel his training. At the end of the day, Sam stopped by Coach Ramirez's office at school, with the coach's portrait hung on the wall alongside photos of past champions, and he slipped in quietly, trophy in hand. Coach Ramirez looked up from his paperwork and broke into a wide grin before saying, "You've changed more than just your record, Sam. You've changed minds," words that meant more than any medal. Sam thanked him and asked about summer tournaments, eager to build on his success and to keep proving that hard work and kindness could go hand in hand. Outside the office, Mia was waiting with a poster board she had decorated with the words "Go Sam" in bright letters, which she thrust into his hands with pride shining in her eyes. Sam took the poster and surveyed it thoughtfully, imagining it at the edge of a big ring in a crowded gym, reminding himself that every cheer began with someone believing in him first. As he gathered his things to leave, classmates lined the hallway, chanting softly, "Sam, Sam, Sam," a rhythm that felt like a hometown parade rather than a school day ritual. The trophy in his backpack seemed to glow as he walked through the cheering crowd, and Sam realized that his journey from laughter to respect was only just beginning. He stepped outside into the cool late-afternoon air, carrying his gloves and the poster under one arm, and the trophy safely stowed in his pack, ready for whatever tomorrow might hold. Mia matched his pace and said, "Let's celebrate with pizza," and Sam grinned, knowing that small moments of joy were every bit as important as big victories in the ring. They crossed the street toward the pizza shop beside Coach Ramirez's gym, where the walls were covered in posters of famous fighters, and the smell of cheese and sauce felt like a reward. Inside, the owner greeted them by name and gave Sam a slice on the house, proud to support the boy who had shown that courage and kindness could turn bullies into fans. As they ate, Sam thought about how every early morning run, every jump rope session, and every punch had led him to this moment of acceptance and camaraderie. He realized that true strength lay not only in muscles or speed. When Monday dawned, Sam rose early and laced his boxing shoes next to his gloves. He stepped out into the quiet street, the air crisp with the promise of a new week. He jogged to school, warm breath rising in short clouds before the sun cleared the horizon. At the bus stop, he paused to stretch his arms above his head, feeling the tightness in his shoulders from Saturday's tournament. When the bus arrived, he climbed aboard and sat near the window, backpack heavy with books and his trophy tucked behind a textbook. In the classroom, friends congratulated him again, their voices soft and genuine as they spoke of his matches. Mr. Fields began the lesson, and Sam answered every question correctly, surprising himself with how clear his mind felt after training. During break, Mia reminded him of their promise to attend extra practice at the gym after school. At lunch, Sam ate his favorite sandwich as Marcus and a few classmates joined them at the bench under the oak tree. Marcus handed him a small note that read, "Keep up the good work," and Sam smiled at the simple gesture. The afternoon passed in a blur of lessons, and Sam hardly noticed the ticking clock until the final bell rang. At the gym, Coach Ramirez greeted him and said, "Ready to push your limits this week?" Sam nodded eagerly and set to work on his footwork drills without waiting for further instructions. He moved between cones with precise pivots, counting each step in his head to maintain focus. Next, he practiced shadowboxing in front of the mirror, imagining different opponents with unique styles. Coach Ramirez paused to comment on his form, correcting Sam's elbow position to protect his ribs. Sam adjusted quickly and threw a jab-cross combination that landed cleanly in the air. Then they worked on defensive maneuvers, with Coach Ramirez holding focus mitts as targets. Sam ducked, slipped, and blocked punches off the mitts, reacting faster with each repetition. After mitt work, they moved to sparring, and today Sam's partner was a tall boy named Harris. Harris threw a straight punch, and Sam slipped under it before returning a quick jab to the guard. The sparring session was light, but Sam learned that speed could overcome size when combined with timing. Coach Ramirez called halt and noted Sam's growth since the weekend tournament. They finished the session with strength exercises, push-ups, planks, and medicine ball throws. Sam's arms trembled, and sweat dripped into his eyes as he completed each set. When practice ended, Coach Ramirez advised Sam to rest and recover properly. Sam thanked him and drank water slowly, savoring each cool sip. Outside the gym, Marcus was waiting with Mia, clapping as Sam walked out. They congratulated him on his improvements and asked if they could watch him train again soon. Sam invited them to come on Saturday for open gym, promising to show them basic drills. As they walked to the pizza shop, Sam thought about how far he had come in just a few weeks. He realized that training was as much about patience and discipline as it was about strength. At the shop, the owner offered Sam a slice for practicing so hard, and he accepted with a grin. They sat at a table covered in greaseproof paper, planning their next training session. Mia suggested they start a school boxing club to share Sam's passion with others. Sam liked the idea and imagined students of all shapes and sizes learning to move with confidence. By the time they left the shop, the sun was setting and painted the sky in streaks of pink. Sam felt a sense of peace as he carried his gloves and trophy toward home. He knew that tomorrow would bring new challenges, but also new opportunities to grow. As he climbed into bed that night, he drifted to sleep with dreams of jabs, crosses, and the friends he had made along the way. The following morning, Sam arrived at school carrying his gloves and trophy, clutching a stack of colorful flyers he and Mia had designed the night before to persuade the principal to approve their new boxing club. Principal Stevens examined the playful flyers decorated with boxing gloves and cheering crowds, raising an eyebrow before offering a broad smile that filled Sam with relief as she agreed to a brief meeting after classes. During lunch, Sam and Mia nervously gathered in the principal's softly lit office, where Principal Stevens asked detailed questions about safety plans, supervision, and equipment before nodding in approval and promising her support. They returned to the gym hallway and taped the official club announcement on bright blue poster board beside the water fountain, where curious students paused to read about weekly practices scheduled after school on Tuesdays and Thursdays. A steady stream of classmates stopped by to ask questions and sign up on the large sheet of paper, each name added to the growing list with excitement buzzing in the air like static electricity before a summer storm. That afternoon, Sam and Mia organized the first meeting in the corner of the gym, setting up jump ropes, cones, and a worn heavy bag while Coach Ramirez arrived with extra gloves and hand wraps for everyone. As the final bell rang, 20 students shuffled into the gym, some reserved and shy, others smiling broadly, all curious to learn the sport that had transformed the boy once mocked for his size. Sam stood before the group and cleared his throat, offering a brief welcome speech about respect, discipline, and teamwork, emphasizing that every member, regardless of age, height, or strength, deserved a chance to learn. Mia passed around the sign-in sheet and handed out club t-shirts she had designed with the words Bulldogs Boxing Club printed in bold letters across the chest, eliciting excited murmurs as students admired their new gear. Coach Ramirez led the first warm-up, guiding the group through jumping jacks, arm circles, and light jogging around the gym, his encouraging voice mixing with the sound of sneakers scuffing the polished floor. Sam demonstrated basic footwork drills in front of a large mirror, sliding his feet in precise patterns while explaining each pivot and stance adjustment so that newcomers could follow every step. Under Coach Ramirez's watchful eye, members partnered up for mirror drills, copying each other's movements as they practiced weight shifts and balance, their faces reflecting concentration and budding confidence. When they gathered around the heavy bag, Sam showed them how to wrap their hands properly, weaving tape snugly around each knuckle and wrist to protect themselves during punching drills. The echo of gloved fists striking leather filled the gym as new boxers hesitated at first, then delivered gentle jabs under Sam's guidance until they landed straighter, stronger punches with growing assurance. After 15 minutes of bag work, Sam paused the group for a short water break, handing out bottles he had filled earlier and reminding everyone to stay hydrated as they prepared for the next drill. They returned to the center of the gym for a round of shadowboxing, each member mimicking Sam's movements as he called out counts, weaving imaginary opponents and practicing defensive slips. When the session ended, the group formed a circle to share feedback, and several students thanked Sam for sharing his passion, noting how proud they felt to be part of a club focused on respect and growth. Among the signees was Jordan, a former bully, whose earlier sarcastic grin now softened into genuine interest as he admitted Sam's guidance had shown him a new way to channel energy. Jordan approached Sam quietly and said, "I never thought boxing could be this fun," and Sam replied with a warm smile, patting him on the back to demonstrate that friendship could emerge from unlikely beginnings. Outside the gym doors, Mia recorded a short video for the school website, capturing snippets of warm-up exercises, footwork drills, and heavy bag work, carefully editing it later to highlight every smiling face. The next morning during announcements, Principal Stevens praised the club's inaugural meeting in front of the entire school, inviting anyone interested to join and reminding them that participation was open to all. Over the following weeks, the club gained momentum as students in different grades stopped by the gym, drawn by stories of Sam's tournament victories and the supportive atmosphere he had created. Each practice session ended with a friendly sparring circle, where participants tried light, supervised bouts while Coach Ramirez and Sam ensured safety by controlling speed and maintaining distance. One busy afternoon, Mia arrived carrying a large box of water bottles and healthy snacks, handing them out to tired boxers whose cheeks glowed with exertion under the bright gym lights. Sam noticed a shy newcomer named Leah hesitating at the edge of the circle, and he offered to work with her one-on-one, patiently guiding her through jabs until her uncertain stance grew confident. After practice, Leah grinned at Sam and said, "I never thought I could do this." He replied, "You did great today," proud that his encouragement had helped her discover hidden strength. Word of the club's supportive reputation spread beyond their school, and soon a neighboring middle school invited them for a demonstration, prompting Sam and Mia to plan a joint practice with Coach Ramirez's blessing. With permission forms signed and bus arrangements made, 10 club members boarded a yellow school bus on a Saturday morning, hopeful and excited to meet new friends and share their skills. Arriving at the other school's gym, Sam and his teammates were greeted warmly by students who had heard the Bulldogs' respectful spirit and were eager to learn from their techniques. Sam led the warm-up while Mia filmed the session, noticing how both schools' participants quickly bonded over shared drills, laughter, and the universal language of counting jabs and hooks. By the end of the afternoon, club members exchanged high-fives and contact information, planning future meetups and promising to support each other's growth regardless of whose trophy cabinet held the biggest prize. On the bus ride home, Sam reflected on how starting a club had connected him with classmates who once ignored him and rivals who now cheered his name as he boarded. As evening fell, he reviewed video clips of the joint practice on his tablet, noting areas for improvement and brainstorming new drills to strengthen the club's skills. Mia suggested they create a monthly newsletter to share success stories, training tips, and upcoming events with parents and the community, an idea Sam felt excited to develop. They drafted the first issue in Sam's garage that night, typing headlines about teamwork, perseverance, and respect before printing copies to distribute at the next practice. That Sunday, Sam hung the newsletter on the main bulletin board at school, watching with satisfaction as passing students paused to read about Leah's first successful jab and Jordan's surprise improvement. Each story reminded him that boxing was about more than punches. It taught resilience, empathy, and the power of overcoming obstacles with determination and support from friends. When Monday arrived, Sam stepped into the gym again, greeted by familiar faces and a growing community of learners ready to embrace challenges. Monday morning arrived with crisp air and clear skies as Sam prepared for the district finals at a renowned sports complex, his heart pounding with excitement and a hint of nervous anticipation. The entire school buzzed with whispers and excited chatter about the tournament, eager to see their hometown hero defend his hard-earned title from the bleachers full of classmates and teachers as the bleachers filled with friends, family, and curious onlookers. Sam packed his duffel bag carefully, slipping the freshly printed club newsletter into an outer pocket alongside extra hand wraps and a small photograph of his late father for inspiration. Mia walked alongside him on the brisk walk to school, balancing 2 water bottles in one hand and a stack of colorful club flyers in the other in neat stacks decorated with bold illustrations he helped design last night. When they stepped into the crowded gymnasium, dozens of club members erupted into cheers from the bleachers, waving homemade signs and stamping their feet in enthusiastic support. Sam paused to smile and wave at each group of friends, grateful for the turnout of fellow students who once felt like strangers but now stood united behind him, occasionally calling out his name in loud, supportive voices that lifted his spirit. He spotted Marcus and Jordan perched on the front row, wearing club t-shirts and holding posters they had decorated in bright marker, their expressions a mix of pride and excitement. Across the polished mat, competitors from neighboring schools jumped rope, shadowboxed, and tested their gloves with practice thuds that echoed through the high-ceilinged space, the soft thudding of gloves echoing against leather in rhythmic practice. The announcer's voice boomed over the microphone, welcoming everyone to the district finals and clearly outlining the bracket, weight classes, and evaluation criteria for the judges. Sam took a deep breath, closed his eyes for a moment, and visualized each step of his routine before stepping onto the mat with gloves laced tight as the bright overhead lights cast long shadows on the clean mat. His first opponent, a fleet-footed boy in navy blue gloves, shifted his weight on the balls of his feet. Eyes narrowed as he sized up Sam's solid stance and muscular frame. Sam focused on controlling his breathing, feeling each inhale and exhale settle his nerves as he watched his opponent's shoulders, reminding himself of every drill he had practiced for months in his garage. When the referee's whistle shrilled, Sam sprang forward with a crisp jab that tested his opponent's guard, the snap of fabric sounding like applause in his ears. The crowd reacted to every clean punch, their cheers rising in waves as Sam's confidence swelled, and his movements grew smoother with each step, and the energy of the crowd seemed to pulse through his fingertips. Sam pivoted gracefully on his back foot, slipping under a wild hook, then countered with a precise cross that landed softly on his opponent's padded gloves. The judges' card fluttered as they tallied points for technique, accuracy, and defense, while the gym seemed to breathe around Sam in the quiet focus of competition, his mind racing through the countless hours of practice that led him here. At the end of the round, the bell rang loud and clear, and Sam raised his gloves in acknowledgement before stepping back to await the judge's decision. When the score was announced, Sam advanced to the next match, earning nods of approval from his coach and smiles from the row of club members cheering by name, earning nods, applause, and shouts of his name from the ringside crowd. During the short break, Sam leaned against the ropes and sipped cold water, wiping sweat from his brow as he reviewed his performance and plotted minor improvements. Mia joined him at ringside with a granola bar in hand, offering a thumbs up and whispering a reminder to stay relaxed and trust his training, brimming with confidence in his training and belief in his own abilities. His muscles tingled pleasantly as he prepared for the semi-final bout, adrenaline humming through each fiber of his body like electricity before a storm. The next opponent, taller and heavier, approached with slow, deliberate movements, his red gloves swinging low in what looked like a challenge rather than an invitation, swinging in wide arcs that tested every muscle in his upper body. Sam met the challenge by circling wide, using nimble footwork to duck under heavy swings before counterattacking with short, sharp uppercuts to his opponent's ribs. Each connection of knuckles and padding echoed like a drumbeat as Sam maintained control of the ring's center, testing his opponent's endurance with every punch, the sound echoing as clearly as the ticking of a clock in a quiet room. When the semi-final ended, Sam's hand was raised again by the referee, his opponent offering a respectful nod as they both exited the mat amid cheers. Only the final match remained between Sam and the reigning district champion, a confident older boy in black gloves known for his powerful hooks and veteran tactics. The champion paced the mat, bouncing lightly and glaring at Sam with a competitive intensity that made each spectator hold their breath. Sam remembered his father's photograph taped inside his glove case, feeling comforted by the imagined presence of his father's calm encouragement, picturing his father's proud expression as he watched from his photograph. The referee signaled the start, and Sam steadied himself, keeping his guard high and eyes locked on his opponent's chest for signs of movement. The champion threw a fast left hook that whistled past Sam's cheek, but Sam slipped under it and delivered a quick two-punch combo that landed on the champion's side, drawing on every lesson learned in sparring sessions with his coach. The crowd gasped as the champion stumbled slightly, then recovered and pressed forward with renewed aggression, throwing a series of jabs and crosses. Sam bobbed and weaved, matching speed with speed, then unleashed a crisp 1-2-3 combination that tested the champion's defense, each strike a testament to his growing skill and hard-earned technique. The final seconds ticked down as both fighters exchanged controlled blows, their gloves glancing off guards and robes of sweat shimmering under the bright lights. When the last bell rang, Sam felt his legs tremble with relief and pride as he lowered his gloves and looked to the judges for the final decision, feeling his body and mind synchronize in a moment of perfect focus. The judges raised Sam's hand high in the air, declaring him the new district champion, and the gym exploded into thunderous applause that rattled the rafters. Marcus and Jordan leaped to their feet and hugged Sam fiercely, their cheers cutting through the noise as tears of joy and pride mingling on his cheeks as he looked around. Mia climbed onto the mat with a camera to capture the moment, snapping photos of Sam holding his trophy aloft amidst a sea of smiling faces. The announcer invited Sam to say a few words, and he stepped forward hesitantly, offering thanks to his coach, teammates, and everyone who believed in him. His voice was clear and strong as he spoke about perseverance, teamwork, and the power of turning mockery into respect through honest effort and kindness. That night, Sam lay in bed with the district champion belt draped across his dresser, dreaming of future challenges while proud of how far he had come. The day after his victory, Sam arrived at the community center gym before dawn, mist curling around his footsteps as he practiced jabs in a heavy bag with quiet precision. Word of his district championship had spread, and by mid-morning a journalist arrived to interview him about transforming passion into success through relentless training. With camera light shining, Sam recounted his journey from being mocked to becoming a symbol of resilience, reminding viewers that hard work can change lives. Later that afternoon, a regional news crew filmed Sam demonstrating footwork drills and stressing discipline, respect, and healthy habits. As the crew packed equipment, Sam waved goodbye and greeted young children who asked if they could join his boxing club. He assured them that everyone was welcome because boxing is about teamwork and lifting each other up. That evening, Sam and Mia reviewed the interviews, pausing to mark highlights for the school assembly where he would speak about overcoming obstacles. The next morning before the student body, Sam stepped onto the auditorium stage in his club t-shirt as Principal Stevens introduced him as a role model for dedication and kindness. With the spotlight on him, Sam spoke sincerely about how the cheers of his friend had drowned out the earlier jeers of bullies, illustrating that support and empathy hold more power than insults and unity every day always. He shared stories of early mornings running, hours in the garage perfecting his jab, and times he used kindness to build friendships. The audience listened intently, and when Sam finished, the auditorium erupted in applause so loud that the old wooden benches beneath them seemed to tremble with excitement. After the assembly, students approached him in droves, some asking for boxing tips, others offering compliments, and a few asking to record quick videos for their social media profiles to share his inspiring message. That afternoon, Coach Ramirez dropped by Sam's home gym for a private session, working on new defensive strategies and advising Sam to begin preparing for the upcoming state championships in 2 months. As the coach called out instructions and counted each drill, Sam executed defensive slips and counterpunch combinations with fluid grace, his earlier nervous excitement transmuted into confident skill. When practice ended, Coach Ramirez placed a hand on Sam's shoulder and told him that his technical growth was remarkable, but he must also focus on mental strength to handle the pressure of larger audiences. Sam nodded thoughtfully and promised to integrate visualization techniques and mindfulness exercises into his routine to stay calm under the glare of spotlights and the roar of crowds. Over the next week, he balanced schoolwork, club responsibilities, and intense training sessions, often studying math and science late into the night before rising early to run and skip rope. Mia helped by quizzing him on vocabulary words and algebra formulas during rest periods between punches, turning study breaks into engaging competitions that sharpened both mind and body. By Friday, articles about his story appeared in multiple online outlets, praising his academic achievements, community leadership, and promise as a future sports ambassador for youth programs. Inspired by the media coverage, Sam organized a charity event at the gym to collect donations for underprivileged families, inviting classmates, teachers, and community members to participate in a fun fitness challenge. The gym buzzed with excitement that Saturday as volunteers manned registration tables, local businesses donated healthy snacks, and participants lined up to punch mitts and race on treadmills for pledges. Sam oversaw the event with Mia at his side, handing out bracelets with a boxing club logo and thanking each attendee for supporting a cause that emphasized unity, health, and empowerment. As the sun set on the event, they counted the donations and realized they had exceeded their fundraising goal, dedicating the proceeds to after-school sports programs in neighboring towns. That night, Sam lay in bed reflecting on how far he had come from the lonely kid who once hid his gloves in the back of his closet, feeling gratitude for every person who had believed in him. He thought of his mother working late shifts to support their family, of his sister's shy pride in telling friends about his achievements, and of Mia's unwavering friendship that had never wavered. The following morning at school, Sam noticed his classmates greeting each other with smiles and sharing stories of the charity event's success, demonstrating a stronger sense of community than ever before. Even the bullies who once jeered seemed transformed, offering casual nods and friendly smiles that indicated a shift from mockery to mutual respect born of understanding. As spring turned to summer, Sam continued training with renewed purpose, targeting state qualifiers, while balancing plans for the club's first summer camp to introduce boxing fundamentals to children keen to learn. He collaborated with Mia to design camp schedules, safety protocols, and skill-building exercises, ensuring that each activity fostered self-confidence, teamwork, and healthy competition. On the first day of summer camp, Sam addressed the eager campers beneath a banner that read Bulldogs Boxing Summer Camp, encouraging them to embrace challenges and support one another. The campers responded enthusiastically, their laughter and shouts filling the gym as they learned to wrap their hands, pivot on the balls of their feet, and throw their first tentative jabs. Watching them learn and grow reminded Sam of his own early struggles, and he felt pride in becoming a mentor who could spark the same passion that had guided his transformation. As the week progressed, camp participants celebrated small victories, first successful jabs, improved footwork, and moments of mutual encouragement, each serving as a testament to perseverance. On the final day, parents attended a showcase where campers demonstrated their skills in a friendly exhibition, prompting applause, cheers, and gratitude for the instructor's dedication. Sam stood beside Mia and Coach Ramirez, watching the young boxers beam with newfound confidence, their smiles reflecting the supportive environment he helped cultivate. After the showcase, Sam packed away equipment and shared a quiet moment with his coach, who praised his leadership and reminded him that true champions lift others as they rise. That night, Sam updated the club newsletter with stories and photos from the camp, planning to distribute the special edition at the next school assembly to share their accomplishments. As summer evenings settled in, Sam continued his training regimen outdoors, running trails near the park at sunset while remembering that every step and every punch carried deeper meaning. He knew that soon he would face the state championships in pursuit of a spot on the regional team, but he no longer felt alone. He carried the support of his friends, family, and community. With his gloves by his side and his heart full of gratitude, Sam closed his eyes in bed, dreaming of future challenges and the endless possibilities that lay ahead for the fat kid who became a boxing prodigy.